Hey everybody, welcome back to WildCare. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday.
Very special treat for you today. We're meeting one of our wildlife ambassador snakes, Rosie. So Melissa, take it away.
Okay, so this is Rosie the Rosy Boa.
Oh, she's so beautiful. She's one of the prettiest snakes I've ever seen.
And she gets the name the Rosy Boa from the rose-colored scales on her tail.
Oh yeah, and also kind of the rest of her has got a rosy tint as well.
Rosy tint as well. She came to us in 2011 and she was surrendered. She was a pet, and basically the young kid who just lost interest. Probably not realizing.
Such a big problem.
Yeah, these guys live about 18 to 22 years. I've heard up to 30 years. That's a very, very long commitment.
Yeah.
And it looks like she's heading right towards you, doesn't
I
it?
know, I'd be happy with that. I don't want to lose focus on her though, and that's the problem.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Rosy
Love to have her climb on the phone.
I
That'd
know,
be
wouldn't
cool.
that be cool? So you could get the close-up of her scales. So her habitat is, there's actually two different types of habitat for the Rosy Boa. Found in Southern California, Arizona, Mexico. There's the desert Rosy Boas, and then there's the coastal Rosy Boas.
And how are they very similar?
They have about 6 different color morphs in between them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So these guys are nocturnal when it is really hot out. Can be found in rock crevices, any sort of burrows out in the wild. They are carnivores. Their diet is basically small rodents, but they can eat the occasional lizard.
Okay.
Snakes can eat any prey animal that's basically about the width of them and a little bit bigger.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and
You would think the little bit bigger would be challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when you try to eat a really big sandwich as a human, you know?
Yeah, like you have a really big lunch. And she can do that because of her jaw. The bottom of her jaw is actually not, it's hard to describe without actually having the snake skull with me, but the bottom of her jaw, it's not fused at the bottom.
Oh, so she can unhinge it.
She can unhinge it, and she can open up her mouth really, really large. And she has teeth that are actually aimed like this. And so what she does is, if these are the teeth, and let's say she's opening and she's eating a large rodent, she'll take the teeth and then she'll walk it back.
Oh, interesting.
And
that's so cool.
And that's how she eats. They have.
So she's a boa. Does that mean she's a boa constrictor?
She
like a
is a
boa
constrictor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 ways to kill prey. There's probably one of the most famous ones is venom.
Yep.
That we have for our Pacific rattlesnake, and then if you were a constrictor, you are squeezing. Your prey to death.
Squeezing and then swallowing.
Yep. Very, very strong.
Yeah, let's look at the musculature on her. She's just stunning. Look how pretty those scales are. So she's very. How long is she?
Oh, I actually have a yardstick.
she's probably about 3 feet.
Yeah,
Looks about 3 feet. Sure, yeah.
And so she constricts her prey, and then of course swallows it. And that actually is a very vulnerable time when they're feeding, because if they're feeding and they're trying to swallow a large prey, they are vulnerable to any other predator at that time.
Sure, that makes sense.
So
Absolutely.
She's both predator and prey.
Right. Oh, she's such a beauty. So is she endangered?
She is not endangered.
It's funny because until I started at WildCare, I never had heard of boas of any variety in California.
Yeah.
That surprised me that she exists, right? So,
yeah.
But so she's not endangered, but everybody, you may or may not know that today is Endangered Species Day. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the endangered species that we have here on site in WildCare, and we'll give you a little glimpse back behind Melissa here at our beloved friend Marla, the western pond turtle. She is a threatened species. Give it to me again, Melissa. I always do it backwards.
As a whole, endangered in California.
Okay, so endangered in California. Of course, you know Sequoia, our northern spotted owl. She's in a similar situation. She's threatened.
Yeah.
And Mojave, our beloved desert tortoise, is also a threatened species. And so we have, and the peregrine falcon used to be, as did the brown pelican, both of which we have here on site as well. Scroll down our videos at discoverwildcare.org/virtual to see all of those amazing videos that we've done recently. So Endangered Species Day, we were doing a little bit of research, and there is a snake called the San Francisco garter snake that I was really interested in. He is endangered. There are two endangered snake species, garter snake species in California, and the San Francisco garter snake is just beautiful. He's turquoise. Ooh. Such a beautiful snake, but very, very, his habitat is primarily our peninsula here, and he is very, very endangered. So do a little bit of research on your San Francisco garter snake. See, often called the most beautiful snake in the United States. Ooh. I know, just absolutely gorgeous. And he's very dependent on the Pacific tree frog as his food source, which of course is also a struggling species. Are they endangered? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, pay attention to the endangered species. Obviously, this is a huge crisis that so many animal species are facing. And at WildCare, we want to promote love and affection and, not affection, but love and appreciation for these animals and whether they're endangered or not, and encourage habitat protection and all of the things that will make it possible for these animals to keep on being amazing.
Yeah, and they all fill a certain niche in the environment. Rosie here is
making a break for it.
She's actually very active right now. But so what they do is their ecosystem role is that they control rodent populations.
Yeah.
If we had an explosion in rodent population, obviously that would affect our agriculture. So she's very important with the ecological role of that. The reason why she's moving around so much is because reptiles are cold-blooded, which means they can't generate their own heat like warm-blooded animals do. So I've actually been holding her, so I've actually been warming her up. So she's very, very active.
She
right
is
now.
so active. She seems very curious. She what's happening over here?
And she's when you look at the snakes, there, of course, you see them flick out the tongue. They are tasting and smelling at the same time. That's basically what that is. And I think it's always neat to point out about the eyes. They have no eyelids.
Right.
Have no eyelids.
Right.
Eyesight's pretty poor. What she's really going to rely on is that really good sense of smell.
Mm-hmm.
Snakes don't have any what would be considered our true ears. They do have bones, but not a true ear like what we have. And they just sense vibrations on the ground there.
Okay.
So vibration could be prey. Vibration could also alert them to a larger predator.
What about heat sensors? Does she have that?
She does not, but the rattlesnakes do.
Yeah, I find that so interesting. Yeah.
I would love to. I got a great book about venom, and that would be a real thing to talk about is the venom and how they do their hunting.
You want to talk a little bit about identifying a venomous versus a non-venomous snake? We can talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Rosie, of course, is non-venomous, and there are a couple of ways that you can tell that. The first is the head shape. If you look at her little head, she has a head that's shaped like a thumb. There's Melissa's thumb to illustrate that. And so that kind of rounded, narrow head is going to be the head of a snake that is not a venomous species. The rattlesnakes and other venomous snakes have a diamond-shaped head.
They do.
So that is one thing to look out for.
And also, when it comes to the coral snake, which ties into the mountain king snake that we have here, coral snakes I believe this is pretty famous saying, is red next to yellow will kill a fellow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you see red next to yellow, it'll kill a fellow.
Sure.
If it's red next to black, poisons black.
Okay.
So the California mountain king snake is red next to black. So it uses mimicry to pretend that
isn't
it
that
is
so interesting?
a venomous
like our
snake.
gopher snakes pretending that they're rattlesnakes.
Yes.
So interesting. I, of course, in this moment am drawing a blank on the other things that you can use. Oh, the eyes. Of course, the eyes are an indicator of whether an animal is the snake is venomous or not. If you have the slit-like pupils, like a cat, then that would indicate a venomous snake versus the black round eyes of our Rosie Boa friend here. Of course, the rattle is a good indicator, and I'm trying to remember the other one. This is the curse of doing things live, is that you're like, let's talk about this, and have this moment of like, oh yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
Now, they can all snakes can rattle.
That's interesting.
So they just don't have the dead skin that actually makes up that rattlesnake.
Oh,
so
that's
when they
interesting.
get,
So she does that.
Yeah. When she gets irritated, if she gets irritated or she's cornered, she'll rattle that. And we also have our king snake who will do the same thing as well.
Oh, so
when they're
cool.
cornered, they'll just rattle that tail really quick. And I think she's just hanging out. So this is actually her hide that I pulled out. They stay in rock crevices, burrows. It's very important to keep her nice and feeling nice and safe. She'll curl up in there and hang out and warm up. I put these in this week. A couple of enrichment items.
Does she use them?
Yes.
She
yes,
does. That's so
yes.
cool.
It's just a tube that you would get like any sort of pet store.
Yeah, like a gerbil tube or something. Yeah.
And then of course the slow feeders that you use for your dogs.
Okay, so what does she use that?
Yeah, she can just kind of curl through here or curl through there.
Really? And she actually does?
Yep.
Oh, it's fascinating. I find that's really cool. That's
She's
really
a
cool.
burrower, so she just loves to burrow. And we have
Sure.
this is actually her tank right behind us, her enclosure. And it's pretty deep there. You can see a little
And she
tunnel.
just slithers her way through there and does her thing.
Yeah, and
She's so funny. She's like, I'm just going to curl up under here.
Do half and half.
Yeah.
And if you notice too, there's some balls in there, and I actually made her a ball pit.
That's right. Well, Melissa, I love the things you do to enrich the lives of these animals. We also have a really cool chart here. Kind of hard to look at it here on the Facebook Live, but I'm going to take a still photo of it and I'll post it. And you can take a look at it, and it shows all the different layers of snake anatomy. They're just some of the most incredible animals on the planet. They're just amazing. Their adaptations are so cool.
Oh, and the vertebrae, we have 33 vertebrae in our backbone, and depending on the species, anywhere from 200 to 400 vertebrae.
Isn't that just astonishing? So incredibly cool. Well, let's let Rosie get back to her warm enclosure. Melissa, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Visit us online at discoverwildcare.org. Everybody stay well and have a great weekend. We don't do these recordings, we don't do these live streams on the weekends. So we will see you again on Monday when we will have something awesome. Oh, that's a good shot. When we'll have something else awesome to show you from WildCare. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.